virtual power plants, what do power plants do is actually to generate power for the power grid, for the network. A virtual power plant makes a similar work, but without having a physical power plant. So how do they add the amount of energy available to the grid? Is simply by coordinating several equipment, several assets, relationship to the grid. So you may have some assets which normally absorb, they consume energy, some other which can input new energy. And if you are able to coordinate the action of all of these assets in the same time, then you can virtually add more power or remove power from the grid. Why this is important? It's important because until now we lived in a world where we were just consuming to our heart's content, and the grid had the responsibility, the onus, the very complex task of trying to make sure that there is enough power in the grid for all of our consumption, and of the factories and of the consumer or home equipments. But now, with the generation of renewable energy, which increase more and more, we know that that amount of energy which is available to the grid, it varies very fast. It's not like having a boiler which you decide when it generates steam and electricity. So now with the variation of the renewable, it becomes more important than before that even on the consumption side, we are able to modulate how much we consume from the grid over time, so that when there is a lot of resources, we are able to consume more, and when there is less resources, we are able to consume less from the grid. A virtual power plant helps us to coordinate this. How does it help? Is because, for example, some of the assets that we control with the virtual power plant are energy consuming assets. So something that takes away power from the grid. Some other, they could be maybe something like batteries, storage, which can input power in the grid. By controlling all of these assets on demand, we are able, when the grid needs, to have more power available to the grid. How? By on demand reducing the consumption in that moment, by using from the storage and release in the grid in that moment. So from the availability, from the network point of view, there is more available, even though we do not have a specific power plant which is generating more power. What we do at Aden Energy, we take care of all of these components. So we are able to help the client to make their utilities, first of all, high efficient, but also more flexible in terms of the modulation coming from automatic controls. On the other side, we are able to invest directly into storage device. Could be cooling storage, electrical battery storage. We could invest and operate and actually share with our client the benefit that comes from that, or find other source of renewable generation, so to increase the amount of independence from the individual facility, from solar, on-site wind, geothermal, where appropriate. So all of these things we can offer, and above all of them is the actual virtual power plant platform. So we aggregate more than one site, so that even a smaller site can participate into the virtual power plant once we join with the several other sites in the same area. And so all of them can actually multiply the opportunities from increasing the flexibility of their energy consumption and energy generation.